If you're like me, you tend to stay away from the little old woman driving behind the wheel with the sun blockers and can't barely see over the steering wheel. But however that might be a stereotype, how many knew that elderly drivers over the age of 85 are involved in 4 times the amount of fatal car accidents as teenage drivers? Hi, I'm Logan Smith, and I've been researching the dangers of elderly driving, and I'm here today to persuade you to agree that elderly drivers can be dangerous and need to be identified through stricter testing. If you don't have any experience with elderly drivers, you're soon about to. Because according to the Pew Research Center, 10,000 baby boomers will turn 65 every day for the next 18 years. So by 2030, they'll represent almost 1 in 5 drivers, and in the population overall, they'll outnumber 16 to 19-year-olds 3 to 1.
Wow.
So today I'll be talking to you about why elderly drivers are a problem, what causes it, and why stricter testing is the solution. Now that you know what will be discussed, we'll jump right into the problem. Elderly drivers are becoming a rising problem. According to ABC News Online, elderly drivers account for about 9% of the population, but the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration statistics show that senior drivers account for 14% of all traffic fatalities and 17% of all pedestrian fatalities. But statistics alone cannot illustrate this rising problem. So to further illustrate, I will tell you a few stories. CBS News reported an incident in 2003 that remains to be one of the all-time deadliest traffic incidents in U.S. history. They reported about George Russell Weller, an 86-year-old man who drove his Buick LeSabre at freeway speed into a crowded farmer's market on July 16, 2003. When the dust settled, 10 were left dead and 70 injured. USA Today reports a more recent story. They report about how 90-year-old Elizabeth Grimes had backed out of her driveway, across her lawn, and off the curb. She then mistook the gas pedal for the brake and took off with a jackrabbit start. 6 blocks away, Miss Grimes drove through a red light, slamming into Katie Bolka, a 17-year-old high school junior who was driving to school to take an algebra test. 5 days later, the teen died. Now that we have a clearer picture of the problem at hand, let's take a look at what exactly causes it. While taking a standard driver's exam, your cognitive abilities are tested, and these abilities have been proven to deteriorate with age. The American Medical Association states that the excess crash rate of older drivers results from impairments in the following functions that are important for driving. The first is being vision. Adequate visual acuity and field of vision are important for safe driving, but tend to decline with age as a result of psychologic changes and an increase in diseases such as cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration, and stroke. The second is cognition. Certain medical conditions such as dementia and medications that are common in the older population have a large impact on cognition. The third is motor function. They state that motor abilities such as muscle strength, flexibility, endurance, and proprioception are necessary for operating vehicle controls and turning to view traffic. Now that we understand the cause, let's explore the solution: stricter testing. Not all elderly drivers are dangerous, but it should be the responsibility of our states and government to ensure that more frequent specific testing is accomplished to determine if a person is qualified to be behind the wheel. This process starts with increasing renewal rates from people above the age of 45, because according to Scientific American, this is the age to where most of your cognitive abilities start to decline. The solution would continue by restricting mailing renewal with renewing in person. It would start with members above the age of 45 to renew in person every 4 years, and then members age 65 and above to renew in person every 2 years. This would allow the state and government to reassess your abilities when it is needed the most. The final part of the solution is vision, cognitive, and motor function testing. As I have previously stated, these are the crucial elements in a person's physical ability to drive, and I believe that it is our responsibility to make sure only the safest drivers are out on the streets. Now that I've covered how stricter testing is the solution to this issue, let's recap what I have talked about. Today we have discussed why elderly drivers are a problem, what causes it, and why stricter testing is the solution. I hope we can now all agree that elderly drivers can be dangerous and need to be identified through stricter testing. But if you're still not convinced, let me remind you that 10,000 people are turning 65 every day, and if we don't start doing something now, how soon will it be before this issue affects you or someone you know? Thank you for listening.
Yay! Now what do we do?
Good. Did a good job. I'm
That
persuaded,
was good.
but I don't agree with you.
Turn it off.